So two sets of minutes have to be approved, and for the April minutes, it's me, you, and Tracy, because Mark wasn't there.
So Tracy, I think you were the chairperson of that meeting, so can you just make a motion or make any
I don't think I was. I think Dan was, wasn't he?
Well, all right, so no.
But I'll do it anyway. I'll make a motion to approve the, was it April 24th?
If you folks on the record, please use the microphone.
Yes, we just turned it on.
Dan was the acting chair.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the April 24th minutes,
Yeah.
right? So I'd like to make a motion to approve the April 24th, 2025 minutes. That's
Second on that?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So Cindy, the April 24th are approved? And then we got the 25th, right?
Correct. May 22nd.
May
May
22nd.
All right.
On the back.
Any questions or comments on
Oh, here
the
we go.
Yeah.
22nd?
Thank you, sir.
All right, I'm going to make a motion.
Got to
that
make
we-
Andy do your dirty work. You could have just yelled at us. It's all right. We don't bite.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the May 22nd, 2025 meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes accepted. All right.
While you guys are reviewing, this is the newest California Avenue survey. Antonio, you have one over there also that you can review because the one that's in the packet is the old
Put up
one.
The survey for 305 California, please. And we're going to put it up on the screen. And at our request, provided us an updated survey. We had an issue with the survey provided showing that his property was partially, his request was partially on his neighbor's property. He made a claim that that was not the case. That was an old survey, so we requested an updated survey before a decision was made. That was provided to staff. Dan, did anyone go in the field and verify this?
For the, yeah.
California.
Yes, I went out there, but we didn't, it's not improved yet, it's just proposed. There's a curve there, but this is the proposed,
Okay. But the existing is, he has nothing on the neighbor's property that you could see.
not that we can,
Okay. All right. Antonio, at the last meeting, you were the biggest biggest
Opponent.
opponent, thank you, of possibly him putting the driveway on the other side, or, you know,
Sure, just looking
not
at
requesting a variance.
alternative, just looking to see an alternative means to achieve the,
Okay.
intended result, and saw that there was some other conformities in the area that maybe had that same idea.
Right.
And so
So what is have you had any other epiphanies, thoughts, comments?
I think
After seeing this new,
the new survey.
Yep.
Looks like at least we corrected ourselves in the encroachment, so.
absolutely.
I think to Tracy's point, Tracy, you were making some points about how the gate, right, of the fence, right, aligns to this, and that's kind of speaking to the intention of it, why it's there versus where we could also maybe move it, so.
We discovered the neighbor across the street went the other way, right?
Right.
They went into the property.
Correct.
So,
Okay, and we have exact dimensions on this. That was another issue. We weren't, sorry, Tracy. You want to move to that?
Here, yeah.
The other issue that the board had was that there were no exact dimensions on the proposed driveway, which is now shown here as 15 feet wide and 22 feet width, and expansion area adding an additional 15 feet. So,
37 feet total.
yeah. So, the applicant has given us the information that we've requested. You have any questions or comments on this application? Anybody else have any issues?
Each garage door is approximately 9 feet wide. Yep.
Well, that's part of the issue because the driveway's not to exceed the width of the garage.
Right.
Can I see that survey, Antonio? They had stipulated that the reasoning for this extension was the HVAC system.
Right, to clear
That's
these two
actually pretty
condensers
much
back.
farther back than I thought it was.
Yeah, clear the condensers.
Wait, say that again?
The two.
Yep, I see him.
You
Yep.
see 'em back there?
Yep, yep.
That was the argument of why the first post was so, like, I think. 4
One of
feet
the
in.
reasons
Yeah.
that they needed the driveway to be as wide as it was because they went an extension of 4 feet off of the house because, with the gate, because they were trying to protect the HVAC system that's there, the condensers of the air conditioning
Yeah.
units.
Driveway now is 37 by 22, basically. Right?
23, yeah. The maximum width of 23. Forward of the house.
Have we received any?
No, the claim was that if there was he has a particular vehicle, that if it was there, you have to get around the vehicle that's there to be able to pull in. That's why he encroaches so far over here, was what the applicant's claim was. Even further because of, this issue here. If memory serves me, I believe it was like in a van or a Sprinter van of something of this sort. But it could have come up, yeah. If you remember, the neighbors had the exact same thing. They just went the other way. They didn't do pavers. They did
Didn't do asphalt,
gravel.
they did pavers. Yeah.
Yeah. So it, Well, when you're looking at your 5 points for, it's one of the points that can be addressed.
And we got a pool that showed up there, right?
Sorry, I utilized the term points criteria. I'm just regaining my brain cells after all the heat.
Did you receive any comment from neighbors or anything, or no?
No,
Dan,
Any
Dan,
co-
do we get any public comment?
there was, and we had no messages or emails.
pretty substantial variance on the numbers when you look at it on its face of ratios. And
Interesting. I like sitting next to you. I'm usually not on it, so.
Well, he's right, though.
Yeah.
that's on the record.
That I said you were right? God help me.
Hey, Dan, question for you. The pool that's now on the pool that's now on the survey, has that permit been filed for that? Or does it have an existing CO, or does it in process?
It's new. It's in process, so it's been constructed, but the permit has not been issued yet. We're in the process of permitting it. It
Okay.
wasn't.
So sorry, you're telling, you have a permit, you pulled a permit for the pool? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, it's been issued. Just it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other questions or comments on this application? Yeah, well, there's no sewers.
Oh, yeah.
So, that being said, is there any other questions, comments? Board feel like we have enough information to vote?
That's why you can't go to the right.
We can.
He just said.
For the record, the owner has indicated that the septic tanks are directly in front of the property, approximately mid-center of the building.
For the driveway.
Right. That's the driveway. Everybody saw staff recommendations. All right.
2-car garage. And,
Get this horse to death. So, we'll just walk through the criteria real quick. We have revised information. Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to the nearby properties. There are driveway expansions, some in front of the house. This one is on the side of the house. I don't feel like there's the detrimental as long as he paves it and finishes it, as per our comments. Anybody else have any comments about that? Whether benefit can be achieved by some other feasible methods by the applicant other than a variance. We did discuss putting it in front of the house, but we were informed that there are septic tanks in the area where they would add the driveway. We can reduce the size of it, but you'd still have a variance. Whether the variance,
One variance is for having it right on the other.
you have to be 5 feet off, I don't know.
So I don't know if you could do it with that.
Whether the requested variance is substantial. Do believe it's a large area, but expanded driveway. So I'll say that we will consider it substantial based on the driveway that's there. But the proposed variance will have any adverse effect on the physical and environmental conditions. It'll be a standard driveway like every other one. According to the applicant, it'll be bordered and paved with asphalt. And whether the difficulty was self-created, of course, he's the one adding the driveway. So by adding the driveway, he's creating it. He doesn't need a driveway. He has a driveway on the property. He's doing it more for convenience, but
And as long as the building department has looked and seen that there's not going to be an issue with management of water from this much surface area going to that adjacent property. That's the biggest problem that our community faces. So if we can just make sure this is a substantial amount of hard surface area, it's proposed as asphalt. Originally, it was not. It was discussed as possible gravel, but in this applications and in their public note, they've discussed that it would be hard surface area. So that's my only concern there when in regards to environmental conditions for the neighborhood. We have enough people.
we can make a condition that the driveway be paved. Or recommend that the driveway be paved before,
Pitched or,
paved and inspected. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
So it's 15.5 feet, right? As it swings in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then width
15.
15.
No, the house next to it, they all front.
They're all fucked up.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion that the board consider granting a variance pursuant to section 250-33 subsection A, part 3, section A, to permit the proposed driveway expansion to be located between 0 and 5 feet from the northeast side property line where a minimum setback of 5 is required. Do I have a second on the motion? All in favor? Go through roll call. Antonio?
No.
Tracy?
Yes.
Alexia?
yes.
Chair, yes. Vote is 3-1. Variance passes. Second variance is granting an area variance pursuant to section 250-33, section A, subsection 3, part A, to permit a driveway of maximum width of 37 feet located forward of the front foundation line of the garage where a maximum width of 23 feet, total garage width of 18 feet plus 5 feet is permitted. I make a motion that we approve this variance. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. We're going to do a roll call. Antonio?
No.
Tracy?
Yeah.
Alexia?
Yes.
Chair, yes. So, but I do want to set the condition that this driveway be paved within, that we pave this driveway and not make it gravel or do, and it's done prior to any permits being issued.
Wait, what did you just
COs.
state?
That the driveway is paved and inspected before any permits are issued, or final COs are issued, so COs.
Yeah, I just want to make sure water management
Yep.
for neighboring parcels.
Agreed. All right. All right, so 305 is now done. We can. 415, 417, I'm sorry, Cindy, that second vote was also the same, 3-1. Yes. All right, 415, 417. Antonio met with Amy DeVito at her request with Dan Gross and Andy from the Planning and Building Department to discuss their application. At the last meeting, you guys are aware that we discovered a couple of things. The application started out as a freestanding apartment building. Started out 415 freestanding apartment building. We discovered that it span two pieces of property, so then they revised the application to be 415, to be 415, 417. Then somewhere along the way, it morphed again to a mixed-use application. That was more of an informal statement at a hearing than opposed to match the application. And by changing to a mixed use, we eliminate two of the three variances. One of them being for the FAR, and the other one the fronting on. Yes, sir.
No, square footage of the lot for freestanding apartment building.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Frontage on Main Street.
Yes. Correction. The two variances that were eliminated were the frontage on East and Main Street, and the other one being 40,000 square feet required lot size. So the only variance we have is the FAR, which is the addition of the stairs to meet the fire code.
And the small parcel portion on the second floor.
Yes, that little land, yeah. So the applicant wants to revise the application. Dan, can you come sit with us, please? All right, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong. The applicant now wants us to reopen the hearing and have they submitted a revised application?
So they've submitted a revised application. The interpretation we received, we talked to counsel regarding reopening the public hearing, and that's what
Jim Burke, you talked.
Jim Burke,
Yes,
yes, our
okay.
counsel, and he believed that would be best practice, just given the nature of the variances are changing, and it's kind of changes the nature of the application.
Okay.
So that's what we were recommending as part of this. I don't know if the applicant specifically,
Have they submitted the application as of yet?
they have submitted the application. It does include the revised variances. The problem is though, the finding about the two variances that were eliminated isn't indicated on there. So it still includes the frontage on Main Street and the FAR. So there would have to be another revision to just have just the one variance request.
Would it, if the board so agreed, would it be, will the applicant and can the applicant provide us a revised application prior to that public hearing? If we reopen the public
We still,
hearing, right?
They would have to.
they would have to.
They
yes,
have
they
to.
would have to.
They would have to.
And so now, correct me if I'm wrong, based on our conversation on the phone the other day, you also said they didn't mention anything about mixed use.
Yes. So the way it's presented, right, they do have it as two single and separate parcels. They've included documents to support that information. But the way the application form is, it basically just states the nature of the variances. It doesn't necessarily, the specific variance request. It doesn't really mention standing or mixed use apartment. We didn't have documentation of that language in there. So
Okay.
that's the one thing that's also missing and could be added as part of the
So
revised one if that's.
Cindy,
Sorry, could you repeat that second?
The mixed use, identifying the building as mixed use, the physical paper we had didn't seem to indicate that on there.
Yeah.
On the application form,
So-
yeah.
So Cindy, let me ask you this question. If the board was to reopen this hearing, when would you have, what's the last date we have to advertise?
The next ZBA meeting, public hearing is July 24th. I would have to get public notice into the paper 1 week from today, due to 4th of July falling on a Friday when the ad is normally due next week.
Today's what?
I have to get it into the paper next Thursday.
So it'd have
July
to be the
3rd.
third, have to be the third.
In order for it to come out on the 10th, which would be 2 weeks prior to the public hearing.
Okay.
And we have to redo the mailings also.
Okay.
Yes.
So Dan, all right, so can you communicate with the applicant sitting over there?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, try my best.
That if the board is so inclined to reopen the hearing, and I can't tell you the yes or no until we vote on it, that they would have to have a revised application to us on or before the end of business. Correct me if I'm wrong, or do you need it before that?
Well, I
need
need
it
it
by
before
Monday.
Monday the latest.
So as soon as possible.
All right,
Yeah.
I
So
have
this
to, I have
Monday
to
you would need
create
it
the
by?
notice
This
to
needs-
go to the paper.
This needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah.
This is,
Right.
this has
All right.
just been
so
Mess.
here's.
from the beginning.
Here's what it
Like,
is.
this
You're
is
gonna-
multiple
you're gonna
multiple
inform the applicant,
applications inappropriately applied for
gonna
inappropriate
inform that-
addresses. This is,
By the end of business on Tuesday,
Yeah.
which is the first, July 1st? Yep. That if we do not have a revised and accurate application, then we will not have a public hearing, and then we'll wait until September, right? We don't meet in August. We meet in August?
Not normally.
Normally, so.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and the application is to include the proper variances, which I'm sure you guys have communicated with them, which we did, actually, we did with Amy DeVito, and have the proper description of a mixed use on it. If it is not stamped and received by 4:30 on the 1st, then we will not have the hearing. I will make the motion at the end of our conversation that if the board is so inclined to reopen the public hearing to hear the revised application, pending the revised application being received by 4:30 on, right, 4:30.
Monday.
Monday,
Uh,
whatever the first is.
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever the
Tuesday,
first
July
is, yeah,
1st,
July
yeah.
1st. But that's if the board is so inclined. Expect you to communicate that to them,
It's a nice
but
one.
don't do anything until we have a conversation. You're not going anywhere, stay there,
Okay,
stay there, you're not
okay.
going anywhere, you're not off the hot seat yet.
okay. it's okay.
Does anybody have any other questions or comments, or see a flaw in my theory right now?
We may have to
Well,
organize in August.
that we'll deal with that when it comes. Let's just stay. You're too far ahead. Let's just stay on the task at the moment. Does anybody have an issue? Dan spoke to Jim Burke. Jim Burke did not recommend a brand new clean application. Jim Burke recommended that we reopen the public hearing and accept a revised application, properly documented revised application. I have no reason not to follow Jim Burke's lead. He's our counsel. Does anyone have questions, concerns? My intention is that if the board has no issue, is to make a motion to open the public hearing pending the proper application being reviewed before the end of business on July 1st. Does anyone have a question or comment?
Jim Burke recommends.
You're way too quiet over there, so you scare me. So.
I would like it to be, I think it needs to be opened back up. Again, it needs to be all the appropriate documentation. It needs to be all the appropriate information. It has been woefully
Yes. No doubt about no one.
inaccurate
no one will
for
argue with
weeks
that.
now. We're wasting the village's time on this process if they can't.
Well, I think it
and
just
then-
keeps morphing. They started out with this is what I want and this is what they ended up with, but they didn't.
It's not.
Well,
It did. We went from a freestanding to a.
well, I think the intention was always the same. The way they presented it was wrong in the
Yes.
application. So I don't want to get over semantics about what they meant, what they present. I'm not going to go down. They will be here for 10 days, but I don't think they properly presented it in the application that we received. So we heard a freestanding apartment building when maybe their intention was always mixed use and it just wasn't presented that way.
Exactly.
So I think there's a lot of holes in this. Now, also inform the applicant that when we open the hearing, we're going to leave it open for 30 days for comments because now we have a new revised application. So I want people to have an opportunity to comment on it because now it's a new application. And I also want to avoid any potential
Public, yeah. let the
well,
public
scrutiny
notice
also,
get out.
any legal challenges as well. I want to try to, make sure that we
I
follow.
see you spinning over there.
If you have a comment, say it. You were at the same meeting I was, so.
No, we just,
Oh, I thought you were talking about Antonio. I didn't even see Andy over there, so.
I was.
No, we were just talking about the form of the resubmittal. We just want to make sure that all the documents are resubmitted and identified in proper order, proper context.
Well,
I'm
as
assuming
per,
staff will do that, and I
Staff
think
will do that with the
but
applicant.
You are staff.
they've met some of the criteria. I mean, we've managed to get the chain of ownership underlined and that's been clarified, so that's helpful.
And they also submitted the ownership of the corporation by the applicant. too.
Yep,
In addition.
yep, we received that.
And the site plans do reference mixed use, the drawings do reference mixed use, it's just the application needs to be clarified. There's an extra request in there that's being removed, not added. So initially there was the latest one had 2 requests in it. We came to learn that the East Main Street frontage was
It's not
Yeah.
applicable.
So it's now-
Yes.
now
Correct.
3 or 4 down.
Correct.
So we're not adding things, just to clarify, we're not trying to sneak things in, just things are getting peeled away. Simplify it.
And staff will work with you on that.
Yes.
But
And those will be in by Monday.
Friday would be, make Cindy even happier.
I can guarantee no later than Monday, but
Thank you.
And we'll correspond with you all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Satisfactory.
anybody else have any questions, comments about this? Concerns? Concerns? Concerns?
Going once.
if I could just interject, I don't, but the 30 days, not that, you know, I'm not gonna speak on anybody's behalf on this.
But leaving it open for another 30 days, I just, as an advocate for the applicant, I understand it's gone through a lot of machinations, but there's not new issues being, introduced into what's already in the record. It's really, the application is being simplified. So just due process, I'm not telling the board to do anything they're not comfortable with, but that 30 days is something that's newly being discussed there. It's been discussed with the expediter, it's fine. It's the first time hearing of it.
I haven't discussed this
Yeah.
with the expediter
Yeah.
at the meeting, but this was something that was relayed to me via staff from Jim Burke.
Then fine, we're good,
and
we're good
I'm
with
not
it, that's
gonna
all.
go against
Yep,
council
just,
on it.
that's fine, that's all.
And I think everyone would feel more comfortable with it being open for 30
That,
days.
that's fine, just want due process, that's all. Thank you.
The application that was before us even 30 days ago was again referencing a freestanding, not a mixed use.
Yeah.
So it needs to be clearly concise
Right, 100%.
description to the public as far as what's being proposed.
Agree 100%.
Okay.
All right, I gave him 3 opportunities, so, all right. I'm gonna make a motion that we reopen the hearing on 415, 417 Main Street.
East Main Street.
East Main Street, to review and present a revised application to the public and the board for comment and public input. That meeting will be held open for 30 days for any public comment to be received by the board. This is all contingent on that staff will send out the applicant what he has to do. The applicant will submit it, and it'll be received by Cindy on 4:30 Tuesday. If it is not received by 4:30 on Tuesday, we will not have a public hearing on July 24th, Cindy?
Yeah.
July 24th. I make a motion for that. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, we'll do roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are going to reopen this hearing. Welcome. Is there
Have a
any
good
other-
night.
Is there any other business anyone wants to discuss? Seeing none, hearing none?